Sur les bords du lac du Bourget, la radio autrement. Radio Grand Lac.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Your English Weekly. My name is Sinead Dupont and I'm hosting our 24th edition today. So do stay tuned. I've got an amazing lady talking with us today about her wine and her vineyards, the 13 Moons. Thanks for listening to Your English Weekly. Here in Your English Weekly, we boost English speaking on various subjects, and you may even learn a word or two or an expression. As you know, we promote this every week from 12:30 to 1:15, I think, yep. And Your English Workshop supports and sponsors Your English Weekly. So thanks to all our listeners today on Radio Grand Lac 92.1 that make this show work. Okay, hi Anne, how are you today?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Good. So before you introduce yourself to the listeners and talk about your wine groves, I want to ask you a little expression. I don't know if you know this. To cut a long story short. Have you ever heard this expression before, Anne?
No.
Never?
Never.
And yet it's my favorite expression. I use this every day. I even tried to use it in French, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So today I have the queen of the vineyards with us, Anne Cadillac-Lotillard, who works here in Savoy, and I've had the opportunity to learn about her and her vineyards and her biodynamique during our English classes together over the past year. So I know, Anne, you're a wine producer, and I know you have very special wines sold all over the world. Is that right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
So now, Anne, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience today?
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Anne. I work in 13 Moons. It's an organical vineyard in Chapareillan, and we make wines from Savoie. And this is for my husband and I a new job since 2016.
Okay, so in 2016 you took over the winery, the 13 Moons. So why?
Why? We lived in Grenoble until 2015, and Sylvain, my husband, wanted to change orientations. And he was a carpenter before and wanted to work and live in nature. And of course, Sylvain's family was from the Drôme, and they all worked in agriculture. So he had notions and knew what he wanted to do. And he learned the trade from his aunt and uncles and went to classes in the Côte du Rhône. Mm-hmm. He had long training in vineyard in Grésivaudan with Thomas Finot, a famous winemaker.
Okay.
Yes, and after he was interested in renewing barrels for stocking the wines, and he knew how to do this as a carpenter, of course.
Okay, of course, yes. So you've taken over this 13 Moons. How would you describe yourself as being different from other wine producers? Do you have a different methodology or a different way of working? Explain to our listeners and to me, of course, how you work today.
Yes, we decided to change our approach to producing wine, organic, biodynamic wine with the label Déméter, which means it's connected with the ground, moon and planets. This means that we mainly use only natural products and treatments in the vineyard and work with our hand almost.
Okay, you work with your hands, is it?
Yes, yes.
Ah, yes, okay.
We don't add any chemical products, but we use some copper and sulfur, which with tiny shots.
Okay, so you use them just a little bit for the protection, for
Yes.
the weather and things like that?
Yes.
Okay, so how many different types of wine do you make, Anne?
So we have 3 sorts of wines. White wines, red wines, and natural sparkling wine. We have 7 different kind of vintage. For white wines, it's Abîme and Apremont, Roussette, and a blend of 3 grapes. And we have 2 different types of red wine, Mondeuse, and 1 blend Gamay and Mondeuse.
Okay,
and a famous sparkling Jacquard.
Ooh, okay. And the Mondeuse, that's the queen of the reds, isn't it, here in Savoy?
Yes, of course, the queen of the grape. It's my opinion.
Okay, so how do your varieties change from other people's varieties? How do your varieties of wine change compared to others who are just beside you or who are in the area?
So we don't have the same process, and the cellar is either warm or cold to give life to the yeasts. Mm-hmm. So it's a natural way to start the fermentation. In the winter, the temperature drops naturally because the wines need stillness and rest. In spring, the temperature rises and the yeast does its job. That's why our wines need to be kept in the vat longer.
Okay, so just explain the word yeast to our
yeast,
because it's true that some people may never have heard of this word before.
Yeast, it's you find yeast in the cheese, in bread. Yes, in bread. And the yeast are very important. It makes life in the wine. In the wine,
and it's what happens for the fermentation.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So, how do your varieties? Well, we've talked about that, but what is the connection between the weather and the picking season? Because I know when we were speaking together that the picking season depends mostly on the weather. Is that right?
Yes, of course. The harvest depends on the weather and the climate. The former months, when we have frost, the plants are feeblized by this. After, like in 2021.
Yeah, last year.
Yes, it was terrible. There was a lot of mildew. And mildew powder. So we need to treat with copper. It slows the maturity down, and it is delaying the harvesting time because photosynthesis blocks the maturity. So we have to wait for the grapes to mature with the climate, and let's go because nature is stronger. And we have to go with the flow.
Of course, you have to go with the flow. Of course, you do. Do you want to explain to the audience what mildew is exactly?
It's a disease. It's in French. It's like a mushroom, but it's not a mushroom.
It's not a fungus.
No fungus. No, but it's a disease, and it's terrible because many winemakers had mildew last year.
Yeah. Because of the frost,
Yes, and they lost a lot of grapes. So
so the production was down this year compared to the year before. And I know that you're very well known abroad. So you sell abroad. Whereabouts do you sell to? Tell us a little bit about your international buyers.
Yes. We sell our wines in many countries. For example, in 17 states in the US, especially in New York. In New York, they are fans of Savoie. They have even stated in an article in the New York Times.
Oh, wow, the New York Times. That's very famous.
About our wines in Savoie, that they are refreshing like a mountain stream.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yes. Refreshing like a mountain stream. Well, that is poetic.
Yes. And we sell our wines in Europe, Scandinavia, Germany, in Italy, and the Japanese and Australia are looking for more and more of our wines. However, the last 2 years during COVID, we have developed the business more in France, and it's great.
Yeah, of course, it's good. No, the more local we stay today, I think it's an important factor, something we have learned from COVID. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to ask this very strange question because I'm using a little adjective that I love. Do your wines oodle with fruit and flavors, or is it more concentrated? Do your wines oodle with fruit and flavors?
I don't know if our wines oodle with fruits and flavors. Maybe our wines are expressive because of the quality of the ground. Therefore, there are more minerals for the white wines and more fruity for the red wines. But I think maturity is essential for the flavors. To do biodynamic wines, we need to have grapes which are totally mature and which are very high quality.
Okay. Well, thanks for all of this information because it's great to listen. So we won't explain, biodynamic, because I don't, maybe just a word. And what is biodynamic exactly? I know.
It's complicated.
I know it's complicated.
Biodynamic, it's an approach. Yes, it's to
balanced.
It's to find. The plant is healthy. It's very important.
Okay, that the healthy plant.
Yes, and when everything is balanced.
What is balanced? The nature,
the ground, the producers too, and of course the planet, because we work with the moon and the stars. Okay. So, do you want an example?
Do we have time for an example? Allez, just a quick one.
Yes, for example, we cut the grass with a lawnmower when the moon is rising, when there is a lot of moisture in the ground.
Okay, I get you, yeah.
Yes, that helps to fight against
the mildew.
Of course.
Okay, I get you. Perfect. So if our listeners want to go to see you, should they book an appointment first or a meeting, or do you have a procedure we can just turn up? Tell us a little bit of how we can go and see how you produce your wines.
Yes, you must book for a meeting, except for Saturday morning when the shop is open in Chapareillon, in the town. So please call first to make sure that we are there.
Okay.
As we often go
into the vineyards. Yes, into the vineyards, of course.
Especially in spring.
Okay, I get, of course. So can they find your phone number somewhere, anywhere, or a website?
Yes, or our internet site, domaine-des-13lunes.com, 13 in number.
Okay, so domaine-les-13 in...
domaine-des-13lunes.com.
Okay, well done. Okay, fantastic. And do you have a funny experience to share with us just before we finish?
Yes, funny, however, or serious. When you are sick, you use herbal teas.
Yeah, that's right. We do use herbal teas when we're not feeling well.
Yes, and when there is frost in the air, we spray herbal teas on our plants to help them. So I think people...
they might find that a bit strange, but it is strange.
Yes, it's strange, but it's true.
Okay, so you put herbal teas on your plants to help them survive the bad weather or things like that?
For example, we use herbal teas for treatment like valerian.
Okay.
Valerian, it's a plant we use after storms to avoid stress in the plant, like people.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anne, for being... We've only got a little minute left, and I have to tell our guests about what our expression means. So, to cut a long story short, which means... And any idea what it means, back to cutting a long story short? She has to go back to her wine groves. So to cut a long story short, we can't talk with you anymore because we've got to finish.
Oh.
Well, that's all from us today here at Radio Grand Lac. And if you want to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube or on the website, Your English Workshop. And of course, you will see my Facebook page with the expression of the week. I wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll be back with another guest next week. And thank you, Anne, so much from the 13 Moons for coming to be with us today.
Thank you, Sinead. Bye.
Oh, thank you. And don't forget to stay tuned, because at 1:00 we've got our charities that are here today with the Place of the Charities. 2:15, how to keep your plants alive. That's for you, Anne, with Alan. And then at 5 o'clock tonight, 1 hour, 1 commune. And we've got Saint-Ours coming. So do stay tuned to Radio Grand Lac for all the different things that will be happening. I wish you all the best and a wonderful day. Bye for now. See you next week.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Radio Grand Lac. Votre radio.